Hello, Fantasticos. I am trying to make the screen change. Is it changing? Is it changing? There. Okay. So I am going to go over the lesson with you on this thing again, and we are going to go through the journal and just a little brief overview. I'm hoping that you guys are enjoying the poetry unit. It's a time to be creative and to express your heart and your mind and all of those deep feelings that are inside of you. So I hope that you're enjoying that. So now I will go to the lesson plan and we can go over it and get started. So today's quote is by Emily Dickinson, who is a very famous poet. And she wrote hundreds of poems. Maybe even thousands, but at least hundreds of poems. The quote for the day is, "This is my letter to the world that never wrote to me," by Emily Dickinson. It's an interesting thought. And she had a lot of interesting thoughts. She was very unique in her perspective. So the journal entry, if you could write to the world and you knew the world was listening, what would you say? And so I wrote one. Guys, you have your journals ready and you can date it for April 21, 2020, April 21st, 2020, and title it Letter to the World, or My Little Letter to the World. And you can start if you would like to. I'm just going to briefly read what I wrote. I wrote it super quick and sloppy because I've been researching poetry and poems all day. I wish I could share all the poems there are with you guys because there's so many wonderful ones. So it's really hard to kind of pick and choose ones that you might like and that you can do something interesting with. But I believe that today's assignment will be interesting and a way to express some of the things that you feel and believe. So my letter to the world, well, I didn't write a letter to the world. I just said what I would say if I knew the world was listening. I would hope that people would be more loving, encouraging, and supportive of one another. I would tell people to stop hurting each other. I would tell people that they are all loved and that they need to love each other. I would tell people that I just read that. I would tell them that Jesus came to offer hope, truth, love, peace, and redemption so they don't have to feel bad anymore. I would tell them to look up, look around, enjoy the beauty and the moments in life. I would tell them this world is temporary and we have the opportunity to live in heaven for all of eternity. So we don't have to be scared. And I think I could write about this for a really long time, but that's how much I wrote. And what you're going to write is also going to be something that will help you for your assignment for today. So we'll go through and I'll show you Emily Dickinson's Letter to the World, which is what has inspired this assignment. And I have it here. Oh, by the way, so yesterday you guys wrote about hope is the thing with feathers. That was her poem number 314. She just numbered them. She didn't really name them. They put the titles up at the top just to be nice to us. But she just numbered all of her poems. 314. Imagine writing 314 poems. Then, for This Is My Letter to the World, it's her 441st poem. So she is that's what she did. She was basically a hermit. She sat up in her house and she just wrote poetry, and she loved nature and she loved just being outside and in the earth and in land and everything. She didn't seem to like people as much, but she did really enjoy beauty and peace and contemplation. So that's her. So this is her poem. This is my letter to the world that never wrote to me, the simple news that nature told with tender majesty. Her message is committed to hands I cannot see. For love of her, sweet countrymen, judge tenderly of me. So the her there, for love of her, I wonder if anybody knows what that is referring back to. That pronoun is referring back to nature. She is personifying nature and saying, even if that nature is telling this beauty simple news with tender majesty, basically just the beauty of nature. And her message is committed to hands I cannot see, so she doesn't know who's going to be taking care of or even noticing. Are people going to notice the beauty that she does? And that's why she tries to write a lot about it. For love of her, sweet countrymen, judge tenderly of me. And if you want to write a pretty thorough commentary about it, they say that she's being a little bit sarcastic when she calls the countrymen sweet. And she's saying she wants to be judged kindly at the end here. I had written a letter to the world a while back, a really nice typed up one, and I don't know where it is because I gave this assignment back to some of my students back in Chicago when I used to teach there. So I don't know where mine is, and maybe I'll write another one. But I'm going to give you an example of one of the students that I had at that point. And when I did this assignment before back in the Chicago area, and her name was Kelly Swenson. And I think it's pretty good what she wrote. She also, I'm thinking that it's probably a little bit more scary for her because of the area that she lived in. The Chicago area could be kind of tough, and she lived in a kind of tough neighborhood. So let's see what she says. Dear world, when I was a child, you embraced me. You opened your arms and welcomed me. The sun brightly smiled down at me. My childhood was full of carefree days and lazy summers. Everyone was friendly. Nothing could hurt me, and I had no worries. Everything was beautiful, and nothing could go wrong. But now the sun is dimmed by dark, threatening clouds. The world had become ugly and gray. And yes, there are some mistakes here, but she did an excellent job, so don't worry about those. I know that it is not really the world that has changed, but I did. I have opened my eyes to the world, and I don't like what I see. My life is filled with stress and worries about many different things. Now, whenever I walk home at night, I am scared. I have to worry about things like that suspicious-looking person standing at the corner, and as sad as this sounds, there is nowhere I feel I am really safe for sure, not even at school or at home. People are so consumed by a powerful need for money and power that they don't care about anybody else. Some people even do awful things just to spite one another. We are tearing down the earth's beauty to build ugly things like buildings. Soon, nothing is going to be left to build on. Then what will we do? Why are people like this? Why do we do such awful things? I am determined to see this world, but I can't make that much of a difference by myself. But if a lot of people just make a little difference, then it might change the world. And remember, we only have this one life to live, so make it worthwhile. You can't take money or material objects with you. Fill your life with love and happiness, and you will be happier than if you had all the money in the world. Sincerely, Kelly Swenson. So she was a seventh grader that, I don't remember, she might have been a sixth grader, either a sixth grader or a seventh grader that I taught, I believe seventh grade though, back in the Chicago area, and I think she did an excellent job on this. I just found it yesterday, so I thought it was neat. I found a poetry unit that I had created years back, so I wanted to share that with you guys, and that's your example. And now where did the lesson plan go? Okay, so going back to lesson plan, so guess what you get to do? Yes, you guys are going to write your own letter to the world. And you can write it in poetry form, like how Emily Dickinson did, or you can write it as an actual letter, like the one that I just showed you. And I want you to think of what you would like to say to the world if you could say something that would actually make a difference. So if they were truly hearing you and it would make a difference what you said, what would you say? And I look forward to reading those. I'm going to make an upload place so you can upload your poems. I've really enjoyed the poetry that you have been writing. You guys have been doing an awesome job, so keep it up. And then lastly, you're going to be doing your fragments lesson 6. Please read through the rules. These rules are really awesome, and they show you all of the different ways that fragments, what type of sentences are fragments, how to correct them, what subordinate conjunctions are, and all of these different things. So this is funny. Mrs. Zealand is calling me right now, but I have to wait to call her back. So please go ahead and go through and look at all of these different um, fragment rules. I put the rules here, and then you'll do lesson 6 there. And then you can review your spelling list and play games on Spelling City. I will check again on Friday, and I think I put it up this Monday about how well everybody did. So I'll try to do that every week just to show, because we had those top 5. I think it was Wyatt who actually had spent the most time on Spelling City. So just, keep up with that if you can. I know not everybody's participating in it, and I know you're doing other things with your spelling words, but it's a lot of fun, and it can be helpful as well. Then chapter 18 of The Hobbit. So I love The Hobbit. I hope that you guys are enjoying reading it. It is almost over. You have one more chapter, 18 and then 19. So one more chapter after this. And it's just such a great journey, such a great story. They just started, this horrendous battle against the orcs and the goblins and all of these creepy creatures. And so the goblins, are the orcs even in this one? I get mixed up between all the different ones, but I just read this again. So yeah, it's definitely the goblins. And then it's interesting also that it causes the battle that occurs, causes the other ones that were fighting to actually come together. So now instead of the men and the dwarves and the elves all fighting against each other, they're actually fighting together against the goblins. So sometimes that happens in life where adversity creates unity in a strange way. When something bad happens that you realize you need to bond together with others, then suddenly others don't seem so bad and you kind of want them to be on your side and to be with you. So it's neat how that occurs. So you guys will be reading chapter 18 today, and I just highlighted one little part here where the dwarves are saying goodbye to Gandalf and the Elven King and everyone. So the Elven King says, "Farewell, O Gandalf," said the king. "May you ever appear where you are most needed and least expected. The oftener you appear in my halls, the better shall I be pleased." So that's on page 295. And I thought that was just a really cool quote. Like, I would like people to be able to say that about me, that I would appear where I'm most needed and least expected, so that I could always be a happy blessing to other people. So that's why I highlighted that. And so you guys can go ahead and read through that today, and then tomorrow you will read the very last chapter, which starts with a song. So it'd be really cool if anybody wanted to try to sing that while you're reading it, kind of try to make up a tune. And if anybody wants to make a video of it, feel free to do so. Okay, so that is our Tuesday lesson, and I pray that you guys have a blessed week and that you do an awesome job with your poems and your letter to the world. And I love you all. Bye.